Hi, I'm Nick. I am the creator of Define My Day, and welcome to today's session. Today I'm going to be talking about your purpose and what drives you, what makes you keep going forward in life, and what's going to bring you the most happiness and fulfillment, which I would hope is what we all want, right? So I'm going to let some people hop on, and we'll get started with that in about 5 minutes, maybe a little bit less. But I'm going to watch here and make sure everybody's hopping on okay. I know we have a couple people that may not be available to watch this today. They've made comments that they can't make this session. So this will be, if you're watching it later on, it'll always be on our Facebook page anytime we do this. But we also upload everything to YouTube. So if you're more comfortable with YouTube, once this is over, it will be uploaded to YouTube, and you can watch it there. I've personally had a lot going on these past couple of weeks. Summer's been busy early on since the kids got out of school. It's been interesting for me. This is really my full summer where I've been working from home, and we've had both boys home now from school for a couple of weeks, and it's hard. I've had to change how I structure my day quite a bit because the kids are here, and with now my wife working, she helps out. She packs and ships out all the books that we send out. Right, with her working, I've tried to take on more of a role in keeping the kids into activities other than sitting on their iPads all day. So we've been signing them up for things to do, camps and such, but also trying to do things with them in the afternoon and get them out. So it's been a struggle, and it's been a little bit of an adventure trying to get all of my work done in the morning or in the evening. But it's just I know a lot of people have issues with defining that day that you can have a good solid routine, it's just one more thing. For me, it's having school age kids all home from school right now. But a lot of other people have multiple jobs and family issues and sicknesses and things that come up. So I understand the struggle, but it doesn't take away the need to structure as much as possible. So I'm trying to work through that myself, and it's been difficult, but we're getting there. So we're doing well. We have some interesting things going on with Define My Day. I think we'll have some updates to the book coming out in a couple of months. So you'll be, look for that. We're kind of spruced it up a little bit. We're gonna have some new cover colors coming. I think we have teal is going to be the first color that's coming out in a couple of months. So we're working through that. We have a new printer now that we're dealing with, a new supplier, and we're getting them up and running. So we've actually run out of a couple of colors right now. So if you have gray and if you have green, you're one of the lucky ones because we're out right now. And we're running really short on blue, so we're dealing with inventory issues right now. But they should all be back up and running hopefully by next week. And it's a new adventure. This whole thing took off really quickly for us, so we're working it out and trying to make it work as best possible. I'm going to check the comments here. Will it be recorded? Yes, I answered that one. Catherine, your first session. Welcome. Glad to have you. Thanks for coming along. I appreciate it. Terry, hello. Bobby, hello. Long time no see. Good to see you. Thank you for joining me. Stacy's just starting. Good. We have a lot of people that are just starting. They're, I've been seeing in the user group, there's a lot of people that have been joining in the past week, and those people, were kind of, the new people always have sort of a, I don't want to mess it up kind of thing going on. I don't want to do it wrong. They want to wait for the perfect time. I say mess it up. Mess it up early, mess it up often, and that's where that self-discovery comes from. The more you mess it up, the better, because you're gonna review your day at the end of it and go, it didn't really work, or maybe I put too many things on my plate, or maybe I got done with a lot of things and found myself kind of in a place where I was kind of looking for something to do. It's all. There's no, we're not going to get this all perfectly the first time. It's going to take a lot of work to get it rolling. And I'm kind of going to give you a little bit of my backstory on that too. It was not easy for me either, and it's still not easy now. This whole thing is a process, and no matter where you are along in it, there's always room to grow. And it's definitely an adventure. Yay teal. Yeah, I know, it's a popular color. It's funny. I did not anticipate that, but teal, when we put up a vote in the user group, was far and away the winner. So teal is coming. Stacy, the bipolar has you struggling. Yeah, I gotcha. We have a couple people that deal with bipolar, depression, anxiety, stuff like that. And, I think that there's a different set of boundaries that you work within there, but when you try to work within the framework of Define My Day, and really just kind of working with intention no matter how you do it, I think it lessens the impact any of those types of issues have on a person. And we've actually had some really good response from therapists that have given Define My Day to their patients, because it sort of gives them that training to write something down, follow through with it with intention, and then also work on the mindset sort of things. Because a lot of people, especially in a depressive state, will focus on all of the negative things, and they'll brood on that stuff. And they won't take the time to really think, I really don't have it that bad. Through my past, all the things that I've gone through, with depression and everything, I always kind of had that thought, there are people that have it worse off than me. And while that's not how I would go about my appreciation techniques now, I think that small little thought kept me moving forward. I really don't have it as bad as it could be. I can try to make this better. And that always kept me going and growing a little bit in my youngest years. Hey, Suzanne from Santa Fe. Good to see you. Letha, hey, how are you? Good to see you. Heather, hi. Along with your dad's 2-year anniversary is coming up. Your dad's 2-year anniversary is coming up? I'm guessing maybe he got remarried. My father got remarried too, so I know what that's all about. Suzanne, nice to hear from you and see you too. Thank you. Yeah, so and we have birthdays too. My son turned 9 yesterday, and my wife has her birthday tomorrow. There's a lot going on. There's always stuff. My dad's 25th anniversary is next week, and so there's all sorts of things going on. Terry says, yeah, Stacy, depression gets her struggling too, but don't give up, one day at a time. That's it. I think that's the most important thing with anybody. I mean, really, you don't have to have depression. It's just a matter of taking a couple of steps forward every day, making just a little bit of progress. And it doesn't feel huge, right? Sometimes it feels like you're not making any progress. But then you look back over time and see that the progress is there. And you kind of turn that thermostat just a little bit more toward the positive, toward the happy, toward the normal, if you will, rather than where we started off. And everybody's normal is different. Everybody's starting point is different, and everybody's goals are different. So it's all relative. You really can't compare yourself to anybody else in how you do the process. You're just sort of looking at your own progress along the way, and just do it without any sort of expectation, or what's the word I'm looking for? You have to go through the process without any sort of criticism of yourself or judgment of how you're doing it. You're sort of exploring yourself as you go along with it. And if you take that approach, it's a lot easier. You don't feel so bad if you waste a day, or if you're in a bad mood. If you sort of explore why you're in that mood, or why you're feeling the things you're feeling, the more you can explore that, I think the easier it is to get out of it and to make the changes that you need to make to get to a better place. Yeah, thank you for sharing. So what I wanted to talk about today was purpose and what drives you. And I'll go into a little bit of my own thing here. I was very unaware of what drove me for a long time in my life. I struggled through the first 30 years of my life, really. As a kid, I was not very easily, I wasn't well socialized, so I didn't get along with other kids. I was bullied a lot growing up. A lot of times I was just trying to get through a day. I was just trying to get to the next day, get to a certain point where things would be better, whether it was graduating high school or getting in the military, getting out of the military, getting into college, getting out of college. There's just always that next thing I was waiting for. But as I kept going, as I kept reaching each milestone, I was never any more happy than I was in the very beginning. It was just like I just kept reaching milestones, and meanwhile I was wasting my life because I was never happy with where I was. And I never understood why. And even when I started my business, I was running a fairly successful business. I was able to make a living off of it and make my own hours. And sometimes those hours were long and hard, and I worked through weekends. But I still enjoyed the work, right? But I wasn't really enjoying life. So, once, and this is kind of what brought me onto this topic is, yesterday was the 9th anniversary of my son being born. And that was the moment when he was born. That was the moment when I realized I really needed to get my stuff together. I realized I was living now for someone else more than just myself. And so that's when I sort of decided that I needed to figure out what was really going to make me a good father, a good husband, a good business person, where I needed to really get my successes moving. Successes in all areas, not just financially, but successes everywhere. And, I took some wrong turns along the way, especially early on. I think I was a good patient father. I think I was very understanding. I think I spent a lot of time with him. But, as the financial obligations started weighing on me and our financial status and structure, or like where we were, and we had some things along the way. We had a stillborn baby a couple of years after that, which kind of devastated us for a while. I think that through all of that, my answer was to work harder, to try to make more money. So I did more networking. I spent more time, trying to meet people, and I spent more time at work. And I was actually pulling away from being the father that I really wanted to be. So I was misaligned in what I wanted to be and how I was going about doing it. Growing up, working hard was really all that mattered. Work hard, work hard, work hard. And I was never a hard worker. And I think that's because I had no purpose behind it. I didn't really understand why mowing the lawn every week was important and doing it to the best of my ability. I think the reason for that now is I have it hanging in my shower on a shower note. How we do one thing is how we do anything, or how we do everything. So I wasn't understanding that half-assing mowing the lawn means I'm also half-assing a bunch of other stuff in my life too. So that's kind of almost a separate topic. But, I wasn't doing well in school. I didn't do well at my first career moves through life because I had no purpose behind it. I was just told to work hard. I didn't quite agree with just working hard, so I really didn't work hard at all. And I was listless, And so, now that I found something to work for, which was being a good husband and a good father, being the best father I could be, I had something to work for. So I started working really hard, and I was burning myself out. I was waking up at 4 in the morning. I was going to bed late. I was constantly answering client calls and trying to get every client I could. And the financial success was getting to be there, but I was failing in a lot of other areas. So I was completely unaware of all of the other parts of my life, and I still wasn't living true to what my purpose was. I don't necessarily know that I knew exactly what my purpose was. I think I was living according to what I was taught as a child as far as working hard and what a dad and a husband and a man in the world do. And I wasn't really thinking for myself in a way. If it's, while I at the time would say I think looking back on it, I wasn't thinking for myself. I wasn't thinking to myself, wait a minute. I want to be a great father, but I'm barely seeing my kids. I want to be a good husband, but my wife is not seeing me from 7 in the morning until 7 at night or 8 at night, and I'm going to get home exhausted and don't want to spend any time with anybody. And that, as things started falling apart, as my marriage started falling apart, as I started realizing that I'm really missing my kids' childhood, as I was unhappy with work, as I was just unhappy overall, I really started evaluating myself, and I started reading more, and I started following, what successful people do, and that's where Define My Day came from. Is that, I started realizing that I needed to focus on what my priorities for the day were going to be, instead of just trying to do everything, and everything isn't working, right? So what are the things that I think I need to do today? And very early on, those things were business goals. I need to sell this much stuff. I need to meet with this many clients. I need to do all of this stuff. And that was wrong. That was me doing Define My Day wrong. To circle back to what I mentioned earlier, that was me, thinking those were my priorities, but then going through the process of reviewing it and how I felt afterward, and constantly readdressing what my overall goals in life were. I was looking at, okay, these were my priorities, and these were the things I wanted to accomplish this week. At the end of it, how do I feel about it? And in the end of it, I still felt the same. I still felt overworked. I still felt, like I wasn't doing what I felt like I should be doing. I was still unhappy. And so I messed up the Define My Day process. Before it was even called Define My Day, I messed it up for weeks, if not months, exploring and doing the wrong thing. But through that exploration, I figured out what I really wanted, right? And specifically talking about being a father, I want to be the best father I can be to my boys, right? So for me to do that, I can give them, I can work hard, and I can continue to make more money, and maybe I can get a new house, and maybe I can get them, in a safer car, and maybe I can do all of this stuff. But if I'm not with them, they're going to remember me being with them. They're not going to remember me working harder and giving them stuff. And really, in giving them stuff, they probably don't care about the stuff the more I give them. And then they're going to be spoiled and miserable as they get older, because they're going to be trying to fill the emptiness they feel with more stuff. So I started to realize I needed to spend more time at home. I started realizing that the actions I was taking, even to grow my business, had diminishing returns. I was spending more time on the business and bringing in less and less. I was still bringing in, what I needed to, but it wasn't working well. It was wearing me out. And there's a lot of other facets to that, but in relation to the kids, my purpose in life is to be a good father. But that's not defined by how much I can give them. That's defined by how my relationship with them is. So I needed to turn that around. And now, as I address that purpose every day, as I look at how my day with my boys went, I can say, well, okay, so I spent time with them, I did this, but they spent too much time on their iPad, they spent too much time watching TV. I didn't make a big enough effort getting them in front of other kids or with other kids, or doing more activities. I didn't let them be bored enough. There are times when you just have to say, look, go figure something out for yourself. You're not going to use your PlayStation. You're not going to use your iPad. You're not going to watch TV. You guys need to go outside and figure things out for yourselves, right? So there's a balance in all of it. But I can do that now because I have a set of ideals into how I want my kids to be raised, and I can align my daily actions with that. So that purpose of being a great father, I can as I explore it day to day, I can refine that vision, and I can mess up, but as long as I mess up knowing that it's aligned with that vision, I'm okay with it, right? I'm not using somebody else's idea of what a good parent is. I'm using my ever increasing clear vision of what a good parent is to my boys, and I'm continuing to develop that. And again, I mess up a lot. I screw up a lot. I'm not the perfect parent. I never will be. But I can be satisfied in that because I know that I'm doing the best I can and always improving. And that can be in anything. That can be in your relationships. That can be that way in your in your job. Like if you go into and honestly can say to yourself, I did the best work I could today. I identified these are the main things I need to do in my career this month, this week, and today. And this is I'm going to go in there, and if I get nothing else done today, this is what I need to get done. And then all the other stuff can happen, my to-do list, all the other tasks I have. But this is the most important thing about my job today. When you do that, it's hard to flip that perspective, but once you start doing that, you start to feel that sense of accomplishment and that sense of being able to let other things go because you know they're not as important as you once think they are. When you can prioritize the things according to your purpose, then you can let things go and realize, okay, this is not in line with my purpose. This is just, it doesn't have to happen, right? Like for me, answering client phone calls at the moment they answered, or the moment they called me, that was important to me at a time. But then I started to realize it was actually having a bad impact on me, my attitude, my work, the amount of work I could do because I was constantly answering the phone. So I had to put that off because it's not important. And it even made clients mad. But, in the end, the overall work that we were doing in the company improved because I wasn't constantly reacting to other people's issues at the time that they were having them. I either offloaded it to somebody else or I got back to it when I could. And, but I had to be okay with that. I had to understand that, that wasn't, like answering the phone immediately was not a priority. It was taking away from my overall purpose of doing really good work. So, and that kind of brings me to the difference between goals and purpose. I think goals are good. I think goals, you have to have milestones to figure out where you're going, like to kind of measure your success. But I don't think goals are as important as your purpose. I think the purpose for me, as I've gone through this process, the stronger my sense of purpose, like the pillars on which I build my life on, are more important than the goals I have. If you would have asked me 10 years ago what my goals were, I would have told you to drive a Ferrari and to have a house big enough that it has a moat, right? Great goals for some people, but in the end, once I'm there, am I going to be happy? If I'm driving around a Ferrari, am I going to be happy? If I'm living in a house all by myself, with an unhappy wife, unhappy kids, and maybe shallow friends, am I going to be happy? When I now align things with my purpose of being a good father, being a good husband, helping others, being financially successful, while also being giving and helpful, being honest, like all of these things are my purpose. So I can now align all of my goals with those things, with those purposes. And so how do you find that for yourself? How do you figure out what your purpose is? For me, I look ahead. I think to myself, if I were to die anytime, tomorrow or 20 years from now or 50 years from now, when that happens, what are people going to think of me? What am I going to think of myself? What will I regret not doing? What am I going to be most fulfilled in having done? And when I look at it that way, I can say to myself, I was a great parent to my boys. I gave them as much love as I could, and I tried to raise them in the right way. I tried to be there as best I could for my wife. I was an honest business person, and nobody could ever come and say, he was always trying to rip people off, and he was always dishonest, and anything to make a buck, and all that kind of stuff. I want people to say about me the things that I want to say about myself. And if I, pass away thinking that I didn't spend enough time with my friends, that I didn't spend enough time helping others, that I didn't spend enough time with my boys, or that I wasn't, experiencing what I wanted to experience, if I didn't travel where I wanted to travel, if I'm going to regret all of that stuff, then I need to change my actions today. And my actions today constantly having to look at them and make sure they're on line with that purpose. So, if I'm going back to the being, a good father, my daily actions were, working 12 and 14 hours a day and being miserable when I got home. Is that being a good parent? Some people would actually say yes. Like some people would say, I'm working my butt off so my kids can have a good life. Are your kids having a good life if they're not being taught and having a good relationship with you? And for me, I would have told you that 5 years ago. But in looking at it and looking at the struggles my kids were having, I needed to change that mindset. I slowly took a time as I'm writing things down every day. I slowly took a turn to say, what, I'm not being the best father I can be. I was on the wrong path. My goal was over here to be a great father, but the path I was on was taking me over here to not be a good father. To be the absent father, the father that didn't spend enough time with his kids or didn't teach his kids enough. So I needed to bring myself onto the path to the right place. And that's the same with you. It can be relationship goals or your career or your health. Health is a big one that all of us struggle with. If you're middle-aged and you're not struggling with your health, great. But most of us do, right? But, eating, 3 slices of pizza isn't going to get you to your health goals, probably. I'm saying that because that's me. Like I'm the pizza guy. I'm the barbecue guy. So we need to connect those daily actions to where we want to go. If we want to be healthy and live long, then we need to get there. But what's the purpose of being healthy? And that's where we miss it. So we can say, I want to be healthy, but if there's no true purpose behind it, the pain of making a change now needs to be less than the pain of not reaching where we want to go based on our purpose, right? So, even the define my day aspect of it, like the time that you take, the 10 minutes you take to do define my day has to be worth or has to be less pain than what you're going to struggle with if you don't do it. And so, going back to the diet aspect of it, if the goal is to see, to live long enough to travel, to see your grandkids get older, to see whatever you want to see in life, or to just not have to worry about being attached to a machine for the last 20 years of your life, you have to really tie it into that purpose so that you make the right changes now, realizing that time goes by really fast. And so you have to think about that purpose for yourself every time you're making a decision. And that's where writing it down every day helps you. In that, when you're writing it down, today, one of my priorities is to be healthy. I'm going to make healthy decisions today. And I can see that a dozen times every time I look at Define My Day and say, no, I need to make healthy choices today. So then when that slice of pizza crosses my plate this afternoon, I'm going to say, no, I don't need that right now. I need to switch to vegetables. When I'm not wanting to exercise, then I need to say, oh, no, right here it says I want to be healthy. I need to align my actions with being healthy because I want that ultimate place where I'm going. When my kid comes to me at 5 o'clock in the afternoon and says, hey, I want to go play with my friends. Can you drive me over there? I can say, no, I'm busy. Or I can say, yeah, it'll take me 20 minutes. I'll take you down there. It'll be worth it to him because he can play with his friends for 2 hours. And he'll be outside and all this other stuff. And, it's easy to say no. It's easy to say get away from me. But when you align it to being that parent, and for me, a good parent is going to help my kid go play with his friends and not sit in the house all day, that I have to make that choice every day. So, the thing with living in alignment, I think that it takes a very large amount of self-reflection, and you have to. A lot of people try to avoid that, I think, and I know I did for a long time. You have to constantly look at your actions and ask yourself, how did what I do today align with where I want to go? And you have to be honest with yourself, and you have to say, and explore some of the negative feelings you might have. And we get upset at other people for things, and we even get upset with ourselves for feeling a certain way, and we tell ourselves not to feel this way. And in reality, you're feeling a certain way for a reason. So if you're feeling listless, if you're feeling unmotivated, if you're feeling angry at yourself, angry at others, taking the time to understand, what's causing me to feel this way, and then looking at it in comparison to why we feel we're alive. You can say, I can say now that if my goal was to be a great father, and I was working 14 hours a day, somewhere in my mind I knew that wasn't being a great father. I just felt obligated to do that based on the feeling of, what I was told to do all my life, the feeling of obligation, and that feeling of almost being trapped. But the more you look at life and think to yourself, if I fail, if I lose money, if I don't make as much money, if I can't afford the car I want, even worst case scenario, if I were to go bankrupt, I'd still be alive. My kids would still know I love them. I could still be okay. And I think it's that, we get so caught up with what other people think and what we think of ourselves. We don't really explore what we should be exploring and being happy for ourselves or with the people we love. So, all right, I'm going to go back and check out these comments now. I see the moat. Let me go all the way up here. Hold on. Love to have a person to talk to. Yep, having good people to talk to is huge. Huge. Julie, welcome for the first time from Quebec. Bobby, a step backward now and then also helps your growth. Bobby, this is something that comes up in the Define My Day user group quite a bit. It's that step backward, and I see it when people fall out of using Define My Day, right? So an old sales saying was, we do what works until it works, right? You cold call until it works, and then you don't cold call anymore. With Define My Day, so you spend 10 minutes outlining your day, you do your stuff, you follow your disciplines, and it starts to work a little bit, you feel good, and then you quit. Or life gets in the way and you quit. Somebody gets sick, you quit. And then you fall back a little bit. But that fall back, that step backwards, gives you so much perspective into what did work for you, and its value. So and you can look at that in any part of life. Whether it's relationship struggles, a career problem, maybe you get fired, maybe you don't get promoted when you think you should. Looking at that and taking responsibility for it and saying, how can I do it better? What can I change? All of that is incredibly valuable, because I look at the people who have everything handed to them and life is easy. They just seem so disconnected, and it just doesn't seem like you almost feel like when they get to the end of it, they might even feel like they were something special and that they were great and that everything was good. But I wonder how valuable and how meaningful that life was. I feel like a little bit like struggle and taking a step back. Every time I have a hardship that I go through, it usually happens right after I start feeling a little bit too good about myself. And then I think to myself, this is God or the universe or something telling me, hey, back her down a little bit, buddy. Put your foot on the brake, reevaluate where you're going, and then we'll take another step forward. So I kind of that's the way I look at that, and that step backward is like, hey, okay, things are going a little off the rails here. Let's make a little correction. So that's the way I look at step backward. I think step backward is good. You don't want to get stuck there. You have to make a plan to step forward. Julie, is my purpose for parents only? No, you're single. I get it. No. And so you can be single and have a strong purpose. I think of the purpose, I was using that as an example because it's something that I can relate to right now and going through my son's birthday yesterday. But no, purpose is, it just depends. Simon Sinek has a really good book, Start With Why. He also has an exercise book, Find Your Why. And I found those two books incredibly helpful in trying to figure it out for myself. Whatever your purpose is, it can be, helping others, fighting for a cause. It could be, being successful for yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. It could be really anything. Your purpose could be just being a great friend to other people. Whatever that purpose is, you just have to make sure you're aligning your daily actions with that. Like for me, a moment of truth for me, it was even this morning and thinking about this, I love helping others, but I can honestly say that in the past couple of months, I've probably had opportunities to help more people, and I haven't because I made other choices. And it's sometimes, other things take priority, but, it going through this, planning out this conversation has made me think that, I need to get back to that and do more to help others locally, here online, in responding to messages that I get from people. I need to make sure that I'm still living in that part of my purpose in helping others. So I'm going to be working on ways to even do that locally, whether it's, I was even thinking about doing like free workshops to help people use Define My Day. Maybe we do like a kind of a lunch and learn locally. At there's a local women's shelter that I've volunteered for in the past, and I'm thinking that maybe we donate 20 books or however many people sign up for the class, and we go through that. So it's a thought. It's an early thought, but trying to go through that for myself to figure out, okay, so I got to put my money where my mouth is personally for that. Having an accountability partner is good. I have had accountability partners in the past, and I don't have one right now, but I think it's incredibly useful. We've had some people pair off in the user group and start going offline and having accountability partners there too. So I definitely, in the workout space, exercising, I've seen a lot of people have good success with that, because when you don't want to do something for yourself, you're more inclined to do it for other people or because you want to be there for other people. And that's actually a good part of purpose that I want to mention, is that a lot of purpose, like you have purpose for yourself, but if you can attach it to other people outside of you, like me with my kids, you're obligated to do it for someone else. And we actually, for some reason, will let ourselves slide when it comes to something for ourselves, but we won't when it's an obligation to another person. So if you can attach a well-meaning purpose with another person, it's a very good technique, and it's good overall to do that. Terry says, no, you're single too. Order single. I still have things that I need to get down, and I need that accountability. Yeah, and yeah, I think I answered that already. So yes, absolutely. Kathy, hi from Colorado. Thank you for sharing your struggles. It helps to figure out how to define my day based on focused priorities. Yeah, you're welcome. It's not easy for me. I don't like talking about it a whole lot, but I know that it is helpful, I've been there. One of the things that the comments that I see quite a bit on our public posts is, who has time for this sort of thing? Or my priorities, I'd have 1 million priorities in one day. And that thought process, we kind of have to snap out of. I've had that thought process, right? I've had wake up first thing in the morning, and from the moment I get out of bed, I'm go, and you're just going in a million directions, but you're never really making any progress. And I've been there, and I know that that's completely wrong. you're going to wake up one day 20, 30 years later going, where did my life go? I didn't want to be that way. And, with someone going through, a depression or something like that, it's even harder because you don't even feel like doing anything. But I think that's also important to have to do it. I think that's part of what sort of snapped me out of it at times, was to say, I don't want to do it, but I have to do it. Whether it was, writing something that I had appreciation for, or getting something accomplished, whether it's, a task at work or working out, eating well. Like, I don't want to do that all the time. It's just something that I have to do if I want to get better. You kind of have to have faith. And that, so, you have to have faith that because it works for other people, it's going to work for you. We have, faith in the Find My Day process. You might not feel it day to day that it's working, but there's enough evidence out there now that it's working for other people, so you just have to kind of trust that it's going to work for you. There's really no downside other than spending 10 or 20 minutes of your day doing it. Same thing with diet and exercise. People get, put down by, or put off by, exercising for 20 minutes a day or half an hour a day, and they don't see results in a couple of weeks, and so they quit. That's absolutely wrong. Like, you don't want to do that. You have to be getting more healthy. You might not see it yet. You might see those results 3, 4, 5, 6 months down the road, but we quit early because we want it now. But in reality, the results are so far down the road, it's well worth it. We just can't go through the pain right now, and that's what we have to get over. We have to just do it now and stop thinking about it so much and just do it. Just work it into our day, develop that habit, and get going. It's like that with everything. Whether it's waking up early, defining your day, exercising, eating well, taking time to speak with the people you care about. We let things slide, and then the next thing you know, it's too late, and don't want to do that. Older singles, got some older singles in here. Young 60 just becoming an empty nester. We see a lot of empty nesters, retirees, getting into Define My Day, and it's that like, okay, so you lived for someone else for a long time. You lived for your kids. You lived for your job, and now that structure is gone because now you're home alone, and you don't know what to do. So now is like really when you have to start looking at Define My Day and saying, well, what am I living for now? And that's where the process really starts to click for a lot of people, because you had that outside thing you were working for, and now with that taken away, we have to start turning into ourselves and say, what is it? What's my new purpose now? What's my new thing? Good to see you, sis. Thank you for coming around. You want to moat? Yeah, you know what? I always I don't know why that was in my head, but whenever everybody asked me like where I wanted to go in life, I said I don't care what I do as long as I have a house with a moat. I don't even know how I started thinking that, but I remember saying it all the time. Julie, it's very interesting because I don't really know what we're talking about because I'm here for the first time. Sorry for my bad English. Hello. No, so Julie, we're just talking about purpose. That's in, and Terry right below you says your legacy. Like, what is your legacy? I love that, Terry. Thank you. Terry, Stacy just lost 10 minutes. Okay. The purpose and legacy. So I'm trying to understand Stacy's comment. I'm distracted by that. It's that purpose is just that thing that's going to make you fulfilled, like that that guiding principle that you live on to get to where you're going to be happy with your legacy. That's really the whole thing there, and it's how we align then what we do day in and day out. How do I know you had for dinner last night? Because I probably did too. You're taking notes in the back portion of your Define My Day planner. Awesome. You're a big note taker. You know what? I'm actually, that's what I'm using my notes for here, is the back of my Define My Day. I carry this thing around with me everywhere. And that's how I stay on task throughout my day, because I'm always looking down and seeing it. And I'm hoping that's what, if you're using it, that's what you're using it for. Or that's the way you're using it. Michelle, yeah, live in alignment. Yeah, it's tough. I think that's hard. I think you always have to be looking forward for a moment and then bring your present actions in so that you can constantly realign yourself. I find that when I've stopped doing Define My Day for a week or two, even though I think, because I have it in my head that I can do it, I find myself living out of alignment. I find myself forgetting to do things or not bringing myself back to, what my core principles are. So that's exactly that. Living in alignment's huge. Got a lot of young 60s in here, huh? Antoinette, you're late. Sorry, but you can catch the replay. It'll be here, and we're going to upload it to YouTube. Antoinette, will this really straighten my life out? I think so. I think it will. It's not so much that Define My Day is the answer for anybody, right? So the process is not like you don't buy it and it magically fixes things. The process of having that purpose and aligning your daily priorities with that, being okay with letting go of the other stuff, right? And then, focusing on, the proper mindset techniques and reviewing how things made you feel through the day, that whole process is actually fairly universal. You'll find it in a lot of planners. And I even was reading some articles about Benjamin Franklin, and he did a lot of this stuff himself years ago. And obviously years ago, 200 years ago. And it's a very universal thing for successful people. And when I say successful, I don't mean financially. I mean people that are happy with themselves. And, so it's just a tool. And for me, the purpose of the Define My Day journal was that I looked at other journals and they were either just not enough or they were too much. So Define My Day for me was like just right. It was the Goldilocks of journals for me, where I could get in and get out within a couple of minutes, but I could always reference back to it, and it didn't try to do too much. It didn't try to track my water or, all this other stuff. It just kind of gave me like a framework to work within all of the good principles that are generally accepted as good behaviors and strategies for people to, get to a place where they're accomplishing what they want for themselves. So that's the whole purpose of Define My Day. Will it straighten your life out? You straighten your life out. Define My Day is just a tool. So if I wanted to build you a roof or build you a house, the hammer would be the tool. I'd be responsible for actually building the house. The hammer's not going to do it itself. Same thing with Define My Day. It's just a tool to help you get it done. And if you follow the processes, and if you really take the time to evaluate yourself as you're going along, you'll be fine. You'll be absolutely fine. And see some accountability friends happening here. Awesome. Yeah, we let it slide, and then the person is gone. And anybody that's lost somebody understands that statement. We let time slip away, and I know I do it with myself, with friends and family. I take for granted sometimes that I don't see my friends enough. I don't see my family enough. There was an impactful diagram that I saw months or maybe even a year ago, where like the time you see your parents or spend with your parents, and you can make this your friends also, or even your kids or your grandkids. There's the number of days you see your parents, and there's these rows and rows and rows of dots, and so each row is a year, and so there's 80 rows, and then there's 365 dots going across. And all the way 1 through 18, you have like all of those dots filled. And then you get into your 20s, and there's a couple dots that are open. You're not seeing your parents. Then you get in your 40s and 50s, and you realize you see your parents like once a week or once a month, or like. And again, you see this with everybody, and like you look at this and you think to yourself, I might only see my parents a dozen more times in my life, or whatever that might be, and it's impactful, and you can relate that to anything. So we don't realize how much time we have left, or little time we have left, and that's why we need to make the most of it, because a lot of us, including myself, would spend 3 hours in front of the TV every night instead of spending time talking to my wife or talking to my kids, and that's time we're missing. How often are we sitting here, like this, and going like this on our phones, and missing conversations that could happen. Taking my iPad or my kid's iPad away from him prompted a 45-minute long conversation about making friends and dealing with issues and arguments and stuff that conversation never would have happened if you were watching YouTube. So, just turned 50, my time to shine. Heck yeah. I'm just developing a life, but it's moving fast and I need help to manage it. Awesome. Well, good for you. That's what, and that's Antoinette. That is exciting. If you're just developing a life as you describe it, it does move fast. I'm looking like this year's half over already, and I cannot believe it. And this business has gone faster than I could have imagined, and my kids are growing up faster than I could imagine. And yeah, managing it and bringing it back to be present in those situations is more important every day. Sheila's too busy purging the garage. Sheila, I missed you, but I understand what you're going through. We have a birthday party this weekend, and I have a lot of yard work to do before Sunday. I regret not taking those phone calls from my mom. I will never hear her voice again. Yep, and that is sad. I'm sorry to hear that. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. My dad has called me twice this morning, and I didn't answer either time because I was busy. Now, I was genuinely busy, but I should probably get off of here and immediately call him whenever it's time to do that. So, Catherine, sorry for that. Mike, hi. You'll be in Pittsburgh on Saturday, biking the Gap Trail 250 miles next week. Awesome, Mike. You'll be in town. Oh, that's awesome. Welcome to Pittsburgh. Kelly, just ordered mine today, purchased 3, 2 for gifts. I need to work on me and my purpose. Awesome. Great to hear. Let us know how you're doing. Join the user group. Invite the people that you give it as gifts to. Invite them to the user group too. We'll get everybody in and have a great time. Julie, you understand I've developed a planner. Yes, we have. Bobby, be 65 in October. Awesome. Antoinette, meeting help. Great, thank you. Good. Okay, you're welcome. A planner with some habit-making components that help it happen. Yes, sis. Linda, ordered the planner. Can't wait to receive it. Thank you, Linda. I can't wait till you get it. Make sure you get in the user group too, please. Julie, thanks for your answer. Time is moving extremely fast. Yep. 46 and an empty nester. Yeah, it's I think about that. So I'm 41. I still have a lot of time left with my kids, but at the same time, it is going by fast, right? So my kid's 9. He'll be out of the house in another 9 years. I think of how quickly that 9 years have gone. And, as he gets into high school and things, he's going to want to spend less time with me. I'm still the most important person in his life. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. I just can't even think about it. It's as fast as it's going, it's going to continue to go that fast. And the next thing you know, it's going to be over. So yeah, it's tough. And that's again, illustrates the point about living with the purpose, making sure we're taking advantage of all the time we have. So yeah, absolutely. Well, anybody have any other questions? Anything else they want to talk about? I hope this was helpful to you. I hope that we fleshed it out as best we could. In finding your purpose, it's that something that you'll never quite nail down 100%. I think that we we can explore it. We can go at it every day in reviewing how we feel about things. But it's always going to be a little different. Like it's going to change, and you're going to kind of get a little bit more focused on one thing than the other. If I'm explaining this the right way, but it's allow yourself. I guess what I'm trying to say is allow yourself to some flexibility. Allow yourself flexibility in that, what you believe your purpose is today, work toward it. And if you find that it's not, quite what you thought, or you need to make adjustments, then you can do that. Allow yourself that ability to pivot a little bit. It's quite okay. And I look at me. So my original business was computer. I did at-home computer repair, and I was just good at computers. It's not that I loved working on computers. I was good at computers, and I can help people in that way. I liked people, being able to help people. So I wasn't aware that helping people in that way was my purpose. I thought it was computers. So I didn't quite understand it. So then I changed it as we kind of went along. And we've started this business now as I've kind of wanted to get this out, how I've done it for myself, get it out to you. And so my purpose was always the same. I just wasn't aware of it. And now I'm just trying to figure out ways to live in accordance with it. And same thing with the parenting and all the stuff that I talked about earlier. Time goes by quick. You can smell 50. Yep. Any ideas on how to include a blank calendar into the back or something? I draw my own every month, but I'd love to have that as part, maybe even a dry erase insert. Well, Kathy, we actually, in a new edition of the book, it's not really an edition, but a couple of improvements we've made. It'll be coming out in a couple of months, where so we have these pages here, right? It's a big, useless green page that says week 1. It's nice when you're flipping through real quick and you need to find the week that you're on, but now that we've added the tabs, the colored tabs, it's not quite as important anymore. So what we did do, and by the tabs I mean these tabs here, right? So what we did do now is add a weekly little planner on that page. So to give you an idea, I don't have any here to show you, but what we did was move week 4 all the way to the top, and then we just did day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7, and then a little note section. And there's about 5 lines or 6 lines so that you can schedule things for your week. As far as the monthly calendar, we tried to fit it in, and it wasn't quite working. I didn't like the way it looked. So that won't be happening anytime soon yet. We have thought about doing an insert, whether it's dry erase or maybe a tear out insert or something. I don't know how we're going to implement that yet. I just don't want to rush it, because I don't feel like I don't want to do it half baked, and it just wasn't working out the way I wanted to do it. So we did kind of make that accommodation where here you'll have the ability to schedule things for the 7 days of your week coming up. So we will have that for you coming up soon. Stacy, you're ordering next month's planner today. Awesome, thank you very much. And the user group is really great. Bobby, I agree with you. Our user group now is over 4,000 people. And I can't, when we reached 4,000 fans on the page, I couldn't believe it. The 4,000 people in the user group with a lot of active people. We have a lot of people that are in there every day, commenting, putting positive posts up there. If you are a user currently and you're not in the user group, get in there. You have an invite in your email that you got from us. If you need another invite, let me know, and message me with your order number, and I will get you in there, or I can look you up. It takes a little bit longer to look you up, but I can look you up and get you in that way too. But yeah, if you're not in the user group, get in there. If you are a current user, it's invaluable. I think that some of the ideas that I see coming from people in there, have changed the way I go about using the planner. I think it's a great community, and I really appreciate everybody that's in there and offers up their time. Antoinette, keep you updated on the new edition. Yeah, look for it. It should be coming out within the next month, I would say. And we are, I think you may have missed it, but we are releasing a new color cover. We are releasing a new color of the cover, teal, and I don't have the sample up here, but there will be a teal cover coming out sometime soon too. And then and maybe you guys can answer this for me in the comments here, even after I get off. We're thinking about doing a pink camo color. It was recommended by a couple of people that use it. They would like to do it. So, and I know camo was hot. Is it still hot? I don't know. I need your input on that. And any other color ideas that you guys would want. We want to put out something that's that you would want and enjoy having. So if there's an idea that you have out there, let me know. We've thought about yellow and orange and other colors, but teal was definitely the way to go. You have red. I like red too. I think for me, red's the color. Red's just like that passion red, like the light my day on fire kind of red. So I like that. Yeah. So if nobody else has any other questions, I'm starting to get tongue tied, so I'm gonna jump off here. Terry, you like pink camo? Awesome. I like that too. I just can't. I can't tell if it's still a hot thing or not. But if we have Terry saying it is, I know I've had a couple people say that that's the way to go. So maybe it's our next one after teal. Yeah. So anyway, so I'm going to jump off. If you have any questions, you can message us. You can also comment on this video. We will swing back around and address anything that you can, any questions you might have in the comments afterward. I hope everybody's doing well. I'm glad to see everybody on here. Thank you for the questions. I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate all of you. Sheila, going for the red for your next order. Awesome. Good to hear it. We'll make sure that we get that out to you. And how about that? How about my dad's calling me now? So I'm going to get off and I'm going to answer my dad's phone call. And make sure I take my time to do that. So everybody have a great day. Define your day to define your life. Figure out that purpose. Live in accordance with that. Live in alignment. And I'll catch you back here sometime soon. Take care. Bye.